just scratched the surface of the Earth. We drilled down like 8 miles and we had to stop because it got too hot. Out of 4,000 miles, basically, to the core of the Earth, we went down 8. That's nothing.
Hollow Earth legends have existed since ancient times and have survived to this very day. Proponents of this theory see the world in layers, with an underworld realm containing an advanced civilization supported by different atmospheres, densities, and even a miniature sun at its center. However, modern science holds that the Earth is an unbroken series of layers, crusts, and liquid magma surrounding a dense hot core made primarily of iron and nickel. But in the 17th century, some of the scientific minds of the time had a different theory, that the planet is actually hollow. This idea has proved incredibly durable. Even today, a dedicated group of Hollow Earth believers is tirelessly working to validate their theories through books, websites, meetings, and ambitious travel plans. But is the Hollow Earth theory even possible? And who started this theory and why? And what is the kingdom of Agartha? Let's try and find out.
Hello, I'm Mike Droberg, a Marine Corps veteran and filmmaker, and we will try to answer these questions on today's episode of Forgotten History.
Hollow Earth legends have existed since ancient times. Shambhala, Eden, and Asgard, to name a few. Multiple cultures and religions, such as Christianity, Hindus, Buddhists, and others, all convey a similar story of human origins, a place of human torment, mythical races, or even gods living in deep caves away from the world. From a theological perspective, in Christianity, the center of the earth is the last place where one would want to end up, because it is the location of hell, a place of eternal torment. And the Bible used many graphic details to describe hell, such as in Jude 6, hell is a prison of everlasting chains from which there is no hope of release. In Mark 9 verses 47 and 48, it is a place of excruciating misery where the worm does not die. And in Luke 16 verses 22 to 24, hell is a place of agonizing thirst that can never be quenched. However, the first person to possibly scientifically speculate about a hollow earth was none other than Edmund Halley, of the Halley's Comet fame. Proposed in 1692 as a way of explaining anomalous compass readings, Halley's theory was that Earth is a series of nested, spherical shells spinning in different directions, all surrounding a central core. In his view, based on his readings of magnetic fields and his understanding of the gravitational influence of the sun and the moon on the Earth, this model could explain any discrepancies in his magnetic field measurements. He also suggested that the spaces between each shell might contain luminous atmospheres capable of supporting life. Halley's idea was expanded upon over the next few centuries, exchanging the view of multiple spheres theory for the notion of the entire interior of the Earth being one large cavern. Generally, this new view of hollow Earth is accompanied by the theory of a small sun that hangs in the very center, creating a lush, livable environment on the flip side of the Earth's surface. His visions of hollow Earth was even further developed among famous mathematicians and scientists, such as Leonard Euler in the 18th century and Sir John Leslie in the 19th century. In 1818, John Cleves Symmes, Jr., published his Circular No. 1, declaring to the world that the Earth is hollow. Symmes, a veteran of the War of 1812, soon became maybe the most famous and successful proponent of the hollow Earth theory. His initial vision of the Earth's interior was like a simplified version of Halley's multi-layered model, with the exception that Symmes' version included huge holes at the north and south poles, which allowed access to the hidden world inside. These holes, his unique addition to the hollow Earth theory, would even come to be known as Symmes holes. Symmes proposed to conduct an expedition to the North Pole, where he was sure they could locate one of these entrances and gain access to inner Earth. He too believed that the interior of the Earth supported life, saying that the inside of the Earth would be stocked with thrifty vegetables and animals, if not men. Symmes believed that his theory was not science fiction, but science fact. In 1822, Symmes was eventually able to convince enough people of the possibility of his hollow Earth. He and his supporters actually got Congress to vote on funding for his expedition. The grant was shot down, but Symmes' belief in the inner Earth never died. He continued to campaign for a hollow Earth theory until his death in 1849. And even after Symmes' death, his idea continued to thrive amongst his believers. Students and admirers of Symmes' work, and even Symmes' own son, continued to publish materials explaining his theory. Then, in 1864, Jules Verne published A Journey to the Center of the Earth, which proposed a strange world inside of our own. And while it was not the first work of fiction to propose such a thing, it could be argued that the first such work of fiction regarding the inner Earth was Dante's poem Inferno. However, Verne's work quickly became the benchmark for such fantasy tales, giving steam to a whole subgenre of subterranean science fiction. Many of these stories use the theories of Halley and Symmes as a jumping-off point for tales of prehistoric jungles and highly advanced, lost races of humankind. But where did these stories and ideas of inner Earth originate from? Well, Agartha is a mystical kingdom of lore, located in the center of the Earth. Its entrances lie somewhere deep in the Himalaya. The subterranean kingdom links all the continents on Earth through an incredible network of tunnels created by a race of powerful beings called the Old Ones. They far surpass humans physically and spiritually, as well as in intelligence and technology. Accounts describe this mysterious race as almost omniscient, aware of all happenings on the surface, and supposedly all world governments know of this city already. Agartha holds millions of people and is ruled by its king, known as the Master. The kingdom preserves its knowledge in vast libraries, and has advanced transportation capabilities such as flying vehicles. Many proponents of Agartha postulate that UFO sightings are actually from inner Earth, and not an off-world phenomena. The history of Agartha states that the civilization once thrived on the surface. However, as the world became more violent and unstable, the kingdom went underground. According to legend, it will rise again when the world restores balance and peace. Because of the similarities between Agartha and the Hollow Earth theory, they are often closely linked. Perhaps Agartha's closest relative is Shambhala, with which it is often confused. Shambhala features prominently in Hindu texts. However, the two are not the same. Agartha does not have such an ancient backing. The name started to creep onto the scene when French occultist and linguistics enthusiast André Saint-Ives d'Albadire took an interest in learning Sanskrit in the 19th century. When he came into contact with a mysterious prince by the name of Prince Harji Sharif, whose backstory is murky, but was a very educated man with a knowledge of the unknown. His tutor supposedly came from the great Agarthian school. He learned not only Sanskrit, but also an unknown language called Britannian, apparently spoken by the Agarthians. St. Ives believed that an ancient world government was transferred to Agartha within the Hollow Earth at around 3200 BC. St. Ives was the man who really introduced the concept of Agartha to the Western world. Years later, another theory of the existence of Agartha that came to prominence is the belief that the explorer Admiral Richard Byrd came into contact with the Agarthians during a mission in Antarctica. His secret diary had been circulating on the internet for the last few years, and allegedly recorded his encounters in early 1947. Byrd was indeed in Antarctica at this time for Operation High Jump, also called Task Force 68, which was a United States Navy operation designated to establish the Antarctic Research Base, Little America. One entry in Byrd's diary states that while flying over the frigid landscape, Byrd's instruments went haywire, and he saw a green forest among the snowy mountain ranges. His aircraft was then hijacked by Agarthian super beings. They proceeded to invite him to land and visit the subterranean city. He described it as a vast metropolis, glittering with rainbow colors, too beautiful and wondrous to describe, and formed of a crystal-like substance. In a meeting, the Agarthians expressed their concern to him over the world wars as well as the current development of nuclear weapons. After their meeting, they sent Byrd back to the surface, and he was sworn to secrecy by the U.S. government after reporting what he saw to the Pentagon. In addition, it was no secret that the Nazis had a morbid fascination with the occult. According to conspiracy theories, after losing World War II, Hitler fled to the South Pole and hid in the center of the earth. Some even believe that the reason the Chinese invaded Tibet in the 1950s was to gain access to this mystical kingdom. The concept of hollow earth, based on the research of Rodney Clough, is that the shell of the earth is about 800 miles thick, from the outside to the inner surface. Says the author of World Top Secret, our earth is hollow. He believes that half the planet is taken up by its surface weight, and then there's empty space, and then something else. Suspended in the center of the hollow is an interior sun that is divided by day and night sides. If it is to believe that the earth is in fact hollow and home to all manner of a super race and megafauna, why have we never contacted them or gone there? Well, according to Clough, we have, but an international banking conspiracy has worked to cover up the existence of hollow earth and hide evidence of any Symmes holes. Through the mid-2000s and into the early 2010s, Clough was part of an expedition known most recently as the North Pole Inner Earth Expedition. Unfortunately, after a number of setbacks, including the dropping of financial backers and members of the team falling victim to calamities ranging from cancer to fatal plane crashes, the expedition was put on hiatus. As of 2022, a team of Hollow Earth advocates was again planning to mount an expedition on a nuclear-powered icebreaker. They believe there's a hole in the sea floor which will allow access to the interior of the Earth under the near-constant cloud cover and ice of the Arctic Sea, 7 days out from Murmansk, Russia. But even if they don't find it, the Hollow Earth theory will likely continue on. Until humans can actually peer into the Earth's core, who can say that it's not filled with a superior race, Nazis, aliens, or a very small sun? Let us know your thoughts on the Hollow Earth theory in the comments below.
Thank you for watching Forgotten History. Please like, share, and subscribe. If you have any comments or show ideas, we'd love to hear from you. Thanks again.